Welcome, everyone. My name is Colleen Lemma. I am a spiritual intuitive, a healer, and a teacher. And my website is sacredsoulempowerment.com, the same name as this meetup group, which is Sacred Soul Empowerment. And I am here today to do something different than I've done, because normally I'm doing guided meditations, I'm doing classes, I'm doing workshops. And today we're going to do what I like to call a podcast style interview with my good friend here, Reverend Sheri from Angel Messenger. And she is doing something special. So we're gonna give this a go. We're gonna talk about compassion today. So welcome to all of you. And again, thank you for coming. Let me give you a little introduction about Reverend Cherie. So, Reverend Cherie is the founder of Angel Messenger, a sacred space dedicated to healing, divine connection, and acts of compassion. As a spiritual teacher, intuitive, and writer, she helps others awaken to their inner light and align with their soul's purpose. Cherie is the author of Divine Messages and a passionate advocate for vulnerable communities through her compassion projects. Guided by angels and grounded in love, she believes that small acts of kindness can create powerful waves of change. Through her work, she invites others to remember who they truly are: divine, worthy, and deeply loved. Welcome, Reverend Cherie.
Hello, Reverend Colleen. Thank you so much for having me here today. And thank you to everyone else who's here as well. I'm really honored to be part of this conversation, and I'm really excited to talk about something so close to my heart. Compassion is something I'm really excited to talk about. I believe that when we come together and have conversations like this, it's something that is healing. It's something that allows us to plant seeds, not just for ourselves, but for the world in general as well.
Absolutely. And before we do get started and dive into these questions, I want to let everybody know that we're going to leave time at the end of this for any Q&A, for any questions that you might want to ask Reverend Cherie. So if there's something that we talk about today and you have a question about it, make a mental note of it. And then at the end, we're going to leave, a little bit of time here for Cherie to answer some questions after the interview if you have any questions. Okay, so Reverend Cherie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what Angel Messenger actually is, how you came to create it, how long you've been doing it, etc.?
Absolutely. So, Angel Messenger was actually born on Mother's Day, just before my son arrived. And so, this Mother's Day, it's going to be 22 years old.
Wow,
Um, yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. It was actually the website itself was a gift from my husband on that Mother's Day. And it began as just a simple way for me to do angel card readings and to help people. And over time, it's grown into something much bigger. It's kind of become like a public sacred space where people from all over the world can come to receive guidance, hope, a little bit of light. And that's pretty much through our most popular service, which is our free online angel card readings. Um, and then we do a lot of other things too. But personally, for me, my personal journey has not been easy. I've lived through a lot of pain, physical pain, and emotional trauma. For years, I was bedridden with intense pain. It was mostly nerve and muscle pain, but I had migraines and stuff for years as well too, and that's mostly under control. But for years, no doctor could figure out what was going on. I went to all kinds of doctors, integrative, alternative therapies, everything. I was eventually diagnosed with a chronic form of PTSD, which they thought was causing some of the issues. And then later on, this was just a couple of years ago, um, I was diagnosed with endometriosis. I finally decided to have a hysterectomy because we knew that estrogen was causing part of the problems with the nerve pain because it affects the myelin sheath around your nerves. And so we had been medicating it to kind of turn off the estrogen to see if it might, if a hysterectomy might work. And so once we figured out that, they decided to do a hysterectomy. And when the surgeon went in there, she was just blown away by the amount of damage that had been done. And she said that there should be no evidence of any kind of endometriosis left with the medications that I had been on for that amount of time. And she said it was just like all it, you could tell it was in my legs and everything. It was like, it's what they call implants. And so there was still a lot of evidence of implants in my body. And so even after the surgery, I had to wait for all of that to heal up and start like leaving my body. Um, but so that explained so much of the pain that I had gone through for years. So it was like a validation, basically, that I could say to those doctors, I told you I wasn't crazy. I told you it wasn't all in my head. I told you I wasn't making up the pain. And that surgery, it really marked a turning point. So bit by bit, the pain began to ease. But even now, I still have some pain. Um, but it wasn't like then. Like then, I would be in bed all night, even till 6 in the morning, just in excruciating pain. And like I would put biofreeze on my feet, and it's 11% menthol. It's like really high percent, and it's supposed to help like with the heat on your feet from the nerve pain. And
Hmm.
it would melt off my feet because my feet would be so hot. And it was just insane. It was just crazy. But um now I still have some issues with the muscle pain and the nerve pain, but I can walk down the stairs every single day on my own, and I can work. I'm creating things, and my hands aren't cramping up from pain.
That's
I can
great.
enjoy, yeah. I mean, I last week, it took me like the whole week, but I created a light workers toolkit, and I wasn't in intense pain. I did the whole thing and I was fine. Um, so that was amazing, and I'm able to enjoy life again. And it's still hard for me to like walk through the whole grocery store. Um, but it may sound simple, but to me, like the change is nothing short of a miracle. It's a big deal. Um, but that experience of moving through that pain and finding my way back to life, it really deepened my compassion in a way that I would never have guessed it would do. But it's a big part of why I do what I do now. Um, I want others to know that they're not alone. And, there were many times where I would be alone in my bedroom and just think,
Hmm.
I just felt so alone. And I think back to one day that I was feeling good enough to be on the front porch, and I was out there with my dog, and I was coloring in a coloring book. And even that was hard for me to do, to hold colored pencils in my hands. And I took a picture and put it on Facebook, and a friend of mine made a comment about how, oh, it must be nice to be able to just sit around and color all day. And it really
Jeez.
hurt my feelings. And I was just like, I would have given anything to be able to do what she was able to do, to cook for her family and, do the kind of things that she does. And she just had no idea the kind of pain that I go through or what I
Right.
was going through. Um, and I wasn't angry with her. She had no idea.
Right.
But I know, because of what I've been through, what other people go through, how they feel alone, how they feel unseen. And I don't want people to go through that and feel alone and feel unseen and be in that space alone and hurting, because I know what it feels like. And it sucks.
Hmm.
Excuse my language, but
Yeah.
it's not okay. And I don't want other people to feel that way. What I want is for other people to feel that healing, hope, and connection are always possible.
Yeah.
especially when you are in those hard moments.
Right.
And, there were moments where I asked God to just take me home. What am I doing here? What's the point of this? And now I understand that I was going to make it to the other side of that moment, but I didn't know that then.
Right. Yeah, it's those simple things in life that, we often take for granted, right? Being able to walk down the street or go on a little hike in the woods and, drive a car and we don't stop to think that there are a lot of people out there that are in chronic pain that can't barely get out of bed, let
Yeah.
alone do these other things. So what a journey, you've been through. And I'm so glad that you're feeling better,
Yeah,
that you
me
come to
too.
a point in
Thank
your
you.
journey that you can, do other things and feel more or less pain free. I don't know if you're completely pain free, but somewhat anyway, more than you used to be, right?
A lot more than I used to be. Yes.
That's great. So, Reverend Shri, can you tell me a little bit about the idea of the healing power of compassion and what that means to you in your own words?
Yeah. So, I've been working on compassion projects for many years. Even before anything was officially recorded on my website, we have a list of compassion projects that we've been working on for a while, but um, honestly, it just started because I care, and there were things that I felt deeply called to do, things that I saw that would make things a little bit better. And as light workers, that's what we say we're here to do, right?
Right,
So spirit kept guiding me toward little projects that mattered, but in the beginning, I was doing most of it alone. Um, Small donations trickled in here and there, but most of the support really came out of my own pocket, and that really limited what I was able to do.
right.
And but I have come to see that compassion itself is healing. And when we show up to others, it's truly a beautiful way that helps us to heal ourselves. And
That's a
it's
good point. It's not just for another person, right, that we give compassion.
exactly
It's for
it's
our own healing as well.
it's a remarkable gift, and it's kind of a secret weapon kind of that people don't really know about until they use it.
Right.
um One of the most powerful moments for me to explain it is when I lost my fur baby Riley. I lost him to cancer, and that was 14 months ago yesterday.
Oh, wow. Not very long ago.
No, it wasn't. And it feels like some time has passed, but it broke me, losing him. And he wasn't just a pet. He was my child. And I know that that's something that not everybody understands, but he was. And um, he grew up with my son. They were brothers. He was treated like a kid, and um, he was spoiled rotten. He was very precious, and I was completely heartbroken, and I felt like I lost a part of myself.
Hmm. For sure.
Um, yeah, it was awful, but so every Christmas I make a point to donate treats and toys to shelter pets.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And well, I do it because I want them to not be forgotten. And I also know there's been research into this that happier pets get adopted faster, which, I mean, if you think about it, pets that come up to the gate that are smiling, that are jumping up and interacting with people, they're more likely to get adopted.
Right.
So, my idea is I don't forget them at Christmas. They're happier. They're jumping up and paying attention to the people walking by to get a shelter pet at Christmas. And it's more likely they'll get adopted at Christmas. So I'm killing multiple birds with one stone, I guess. And that's a
Right.
horrible expression, I guess. But I don't kill birds. Um,
No, I'm sure you don't.
I don't kill birds. Um, so, but that Christmas, I could not. I just could not bring myself to do it because I didn't get to shop for Riley. And Riley loved presents.
I'm sorry. I know that's just last Christmas, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
Excuse me.
That's okay. When you're talking about Riley, it brings me back to when I had Gemini, my cat, who I considered
Yeah.
a soulmate, and I had her from the time she was just big enough to fit in the palm of my hand until I don't remember. I think she was 12, 13, 14 years old, but I can understand the loss, of a fur baby that is like a part of your family, so I really get it. I,
Yeah.
had to fight back choking up a little bit when you were first talking about it. So no worry.
Yeah. I know you understand. You see pets that way too. And he was only 9 and we just felt like he was just robbed of life. And
Hmm.
we fought with everything we could to save his life. And
Yeah.
it didn't, yeah. So,
Did you end up doing the Christmas thing and buying the
so
presents?
yeah, I wasn't going to do it. And I heard Riley and he was like, don't forget them. And so I went to Amazon and I'm sitting there on my computer with tears running down my face and buying toy mice, colorful stuffed ducks, and treats. And when I went to check out, um, I had the shelter address and the addresses that you can choose,
Yeah.
but Riley's address was also in there, our address with his name on it, because when I would buy him stuff, I would put his name on it because he liked getting mail. He loved
Okay.
getting presents, but he loved getting mail too because he would get a bark box. And so he liked getting mail with treats and toys in it. And
Uh-huh.
so I saw his name in there and it just that got me more. And then just the whole process of going through the checkout and giving them the toys and everything, it just I don't know, I just felt this overwhelming sense of peace and love. And it was just like the love from Riley hit me. And then it was just like this the love that I had for him and the love he had for me. It was like it ricocheted out. And it was like I saw the ripple effect of how it was going out to them. And even though it came from my grief and I had that grief still, it was love that was going outward to them through my act of compassion, even though I was still in my grief.
Right.
And so I saw how that ripple effect happened. And so, like, when you hear me say the ripple effect of compassion, that's where it comes from.
Okay.
But it was, it was difficult. But it was like honoring Riley's love by extending it outward, that ripple effect of compassion. Um, and since then, Spirit has shown me how compassion, especially when it's hard, can be a really powerful tool for healing, and not just for the humans or animals that we're helping, but for
Right.
our own hearts too.
Right.
Um, that experience that just really opened my eyes to how compassion isn't just something we give, it's something that we receive too. And it's sacred, it's healing. And it's something I believe that we desperately need in the world right now.
I agree with you 100%. We definitely need compassion in the world, and we need to, support one another, share, that with one another. And I'm glad we're talking about it today. I have to tell you really quick is when I put it up on Facebook this morning to advertise that we were going to do this today to see if there was anybody else, aside from Meetup that was interested in attending. And right away, I got a message from a dear friend who lives on the West Coast. And I used to live on the West Coast in Southern Oregon, so she's in that area. And she said, I was just talking about compassion with my group this morning. And then I saw your post. So,
That's cool.
yeah, very synchronistic, thing there.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
oh no, that's great. No, it's amazing how spirit could take our broken pieces and weave them into a beautiful tapestry. And it's all when we choose to act from a place of love. And um, that ripple effect, it doesn't end with us. It just keeps going.
absolutely. Absolutely. And the more people we have sharing compassion and love, on the planet with each other, the more we're going to be able to like to tip that metaphoric scale or whatever and move into a higher paradigm of energy that we, all should be experiencing and living in, right?
Yeah.
So, Reverend Cherie, can you tell me what exactly is the Compassion Challenge? We had talked a little bit before, and you're doing something called the Compassion Challenge that was part of the description for this particular event. What is the Compassion Challenge and that you're doing, and how were you guided to start it?
So the Compassion Challenge is for the whole month of April. And it's something you can continue on after or do it anytime yourself, of course. But it actually started because I wanted to encourage people to practice compassion in a real, tangible way in their own lives, with themselves, with the world around them, to know that they could do it for real for themselves. And we live in a time, like I said, where compassion's really needed. Yet it's often something that's overlooked because we're busy, or, the way the world is.
Yeah,
Um, a lot of people say they're light workers, but they're not really out here in the arena spreading that light, shining that light. And I don't say that with judgment. Some people are barely hanging on themselves.
right,
Get it. Life can be overwhelming. But that's
right.
why compassion matters so much. It's a healer. It doesn't just, help the person receiving it, it's for us too. And that's what makes it so powerful. The more we practice it, the more it ripples out, the more it brings light into the world. And um, it doesn't have to be big. One act could be leaving a kind note for somebody who's struggling, or it could even be pausing to be gentle with yourself for a day. It's those small, soulful choices
Hmm.
that can really shift everything. It's even if it starts with shifting your own perspective.
Yeah. It's like when a friend that you haven't talked to in a long time, maybe they pop into your head, you're in the middle of doing a project or something or work, but you can take, 10 seconds, 15, 20 seconds to send a little text and say, hey,
Yeah.
it just crossed my mind. I'm thinking about you and I'm sending you love and light and healing.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. So you're currently involved in something called Compassion Kits for Her. Can you tell us what that involves, what that's all about?
Yes. So Compassion Kits for Her is a project I'm currently working on with the Ennis Center for Children. I was in there the week before the Compassion Challenge began, dropping off some art kits for the kids. And I talked to the director, and she said that they were in desperate need of pads for the girls, maxi pads for the girls. Um, and I was just like, what? Like, it hit me hard because, first of all, girls shouldn't go without that kind of thing. It should be something that is like common sense, easy, they should have it just as easily as toothpaste and shampoo. Um, but secondly, it took me back to my own childhood. Um, when I turned 12, I was given the gift of independence, and that meant I was now responsible for my own toothpaste, my own shampoo, my own maxi pads, school supplies,
At
clothing.
12?
At 12, my stepdad didn't feel like he was should be responsible for those things for me. Um,
Wow.
so I know what it feels like to be forgotten and not have the things that you need. And when she told me that, I was just like, it like something caught in my throat and I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, it was like in my body. I was like, that's wrong. And I had to
Right?
fix it. I was like, I'm going to take this as my personal mission to fix this because it's wrong.
Right.
So I just couldn't let that go. So I had to do something about it. And that's where the kids came from. But I can't do it by myself. I need help. So that's why they're on my website. These kits, they're including things like pads or tampons, gentle soap and wipes. I really would like to be able to get enough money to put, I found these great little heating pads for cramps and they have positive sayings on them. So
Oh,
they're the perfect thing. Um,
yeah.
there's lotion, a journal, and then a few comfort items. And each one is created with care and every donation helps. And these ones cost about $22 to put together. And then we're accepting donations through my website. I will be honest, this project stirred up some emotion. I actually had some people come at me with anger. And I
Why
do
would they
understand.
be angry because you're making kits for teenagers?
Well, I understand where some of it came from. Some of it was not appropriate, and I nipped that in the bud, but um, they're angry because the foster care system is broken. And they were angry because of what's happening to these kids isn't fair. And I agree completely. That's absolutely true. But when I'll tell you one thing. When I got into college, I in my abnormal psych class, we did these long papers, and I did mine on the child welfare system in the state of Michigan because I wanted to know why I was failed.
Mm-hmm.
The foster system and the child welfare system is really messed up. And a lot of it comes from the fact that there's not enough funding. There just isn't. And so they can't not fail the kids because there isn't enough to go around. But the sad thing is in our country, in our world, there is enough to go around. There really is.
Right.
And we just need to make sure that the things that need to be fixed and need to be changed get fixed and get changed. So here's the thing, staying angry won't fix it. Sitting on the sidelines isn't going to help these girls. If we want to make a difference, we have to turn our anger into action.
Yeah, for
We have
sure.
to let compassion be the force that carries us forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we show up with love, that's when real change happens.
Right. Love is a higher vibration than anger
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
fear and
Yeah. When you rise into that higher vibe energy, the higher light, you can see what's real. You can see what's needed. You can see where the change needs to happen.
right.
And that's when you can make a difference. And, even one kit makes a difference,
Absolutely.
and people who feel called to make a difference, you can learn more on my website, angelmessenger.net.
Awesome. And we're going to give that information out here in the chat in just a minute.
Okay.
So we talked about the compassion kits for her. How, and I know that you're currently working on doing something else that's a little different, a new launch of something new in May called Compassion Kits for She. What's the
Yes.
difference with that?
Thank you for asking. So, the Compassion Kits for She is a new project I'm launching in May, and that's in partnership with the Women's Center of Greater Lansing. These kits are a little different. They're specifically designed for women who are emerging from traumatic and violent situations, often with nothing but their courage.
Hmm.
When a woman leaves a violent relationship or an unsafe environment, many times she has to walk away from everything she owns and everyone she knows just to survive. And so these kits are designed to offer a little bit of comfort, a little bit of dignity and support during what is an incredibly vulnerable time.
Hmm.
And so these kits have essentials like a toothbrush and toothpaste, shampoo and conditioner, deodorant, lotion, hairbrush, and then I'm hoping to be able to include some comfort items like a blanket, a journal, a coloring book, a handwritten blessing. You'd be surprised what a soft blanket can do to help somebody who's got a really bad anxiety after some horrible thing that's happened.
Yeah.
Every detail is chosen with immense care to help these women feel seen, supported, and loved. And these kits cost about $33 to create.
Okay.
And just to kind of tell you just a second here, so the kits for her for the foster girls, they ended up coming out to $22, and the kits for she ended up coming out to $33.
Master numbers.
And I just chuckled when it happened because I'm like, okay, yeah, I see this is meant to be exactly as I have it because in numerology, those are master numbers. And so I
Yeah.
was like, okay, yes, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do here.
Right.
Um, so this project is also deeply personal to me. And, I could say me too, like a lot of women can. But what really drives this is the people I love, those close to me who have survived violence too. And they carry invisible scars. I see them, I honor them, and I want to be part of something that makes things better for all of us.
Hmm.
And so these kits are not listed on my website yet, but they're going to be available on Mother's Day, May 11th.
Okay.
Um, and there's going to be more information available then.
Great.
Um, so if this speaks to your heart, I'd love for you to follow along or help spread the word. Even if you can't donating, or even if you can't donate, if you can help spread the word, that also helps a lot, because healing begins with awareness and compassion grows through community. Um, you can stay updated also on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/angelmessenger.net. And you're going to be sharing links soon too. So
Yes.
you'll have that.
Absolutely. So, how can people how can they help or get involved, whether it be the Compassion Challenge project or in other ways if they feel guided to do so?
Um, well, if you're on my website, you can on the navigation, you can click on shop products and scroll down to the featured products. And right at the top, you'll see both of our current Compassion Kit projects. There's the Compassion Challenge Kit, and there's actually two of those. And then there's the Compassion Kits for Her Donation Fund. Um, so the Compassion Challenge, as I said, it runs through the end of April. So if you want to be part of that, now is the time to join. There's a free downloadable kit, and that has the 30-day calendar of compassion ideas and a kindness tracker.
Okay.
And there's also a $10 version that includes extra tools like a meditation, a printable badge, and then a guided journal to go deeper into your journey. But if you're on our Facebook page, you'll also see the calendar, for each day gets shared there each day. And that just gives you like an idea for compassion for each day. You don't
Okay.
have to do that idea. You can do your own thing, but it
Right.
just gives you an idea.
Right.
Um, and then for the compassion kits for she, that project you'll see on Mother's Day. It's another way compassion can truly make a difference, a big difference. And beyond all of that, I guess I'd like to say, compassion really doesn't have to look big or public. It can be something very simple, like checking on someone, offering a kind word, and even being gentle with yourself, because you need to remember that compassion also needs to be for yourself. However, you're guided, just know that it matters.
Absolutely. And those links, you were talking about some different links to your website, to the Facebook page, to how people can donate. And that's all in the chat box right now. So if
Hmm.
you wanted to take a screenshot or connect with any of those links right now, they're there for you to do so. And I myself, and sometimes through Meetup, I'm doing a lot of free events, a lot of full and new moon guided meditations that are free, and a mini reading event once a month that's free. And I also, accept donations. But for this particular event, which again is also free, any donations for that come in today is specifically going to be for you, for the Compassion Project, for the kits for her, the kits for she. I'm going to put that information there in the chat box as well, as far as how people, if it's easier for them, let's say, to just go to my Venmo or PayPal because they've done it before, you can do that as well. And for today's event, I'm going to ship it all to Reverend Sheri over there. Um,
Thank you, Colleen. That's really generous.
you're very
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
You're
Um,
welcome.
every single dollar will go to support the Compassion Project and the kits and the people who really need it.
Absolutely. So, is there any other way that you can share with us today, Reverend Sheree, and how people can connect with you directly, donate towards your cost of creating these compassion kits and distributing them if they're called to do so? Because we know it's costing you money out of your pocket. You're doing these wonderful, kind compassion kits and all these other things that you're doing through the Compassion Project. And if there's anything else that people can do to help in some way, maybe they want to start their own compassion project of some sort. But anyway,
Yeah,
is there anything that they can
absolutely.
do?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do your own thing in your own area, go for it. That's great. If you want to donate to our kits, you'll always be able to access them on our donate page. But I've actually just launched a new program called the Compassion Partners, and that is for businesses and organizations who want to support the compassion kits in a bigger way. Depending on the level of giving, partners can receive things like a shout out on our Facebook page, which has over 16,000 followers. You can get logo placement on our compassion kits for her or she web pages. Spotlight thank you posts that can be included or that can include your story or a featured image, and the option to be featured in our newsletter. It's a great way to support a really important cause and share your business with a heart-centered audience. And then for individuals who'd like to donate, that's easy as well. Just visit our website. And then at the very top, there's a turquoise bar and there's a donate link there. And that's where you'll find all the listings for the compassion kits. And actually, in the listings themselves, you'll find links to our Amazon wish list for that kit if you'd prefer to donate items instead of funds. And
Mhm.
that's also really great. And if you're looking for a way that is a non-financial way to donate, there's also an address in there that you can send me. You can write notes,
Oh, that's
like
nice.
blessings for the kits.
I
So you
love
can
that.
send those in as well. However you feel guided, just know it makes a difference.
That's so great. I love all those ideas. So before we wrap up and whatnot, I want to just give people an opportunity if they have any questions for you about anything
Sure.
that we talked about or anything about compassion. Does anybody have any questions for Reverend Cherie? We're not putting you on the spot. Don't have to ask. No, okay. Well, thank you, Reverend Cherie. Is really a pleasure to speak with you today, learn about this really powerful and much needed energy to help bring healing back to the world. Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you, Rotunda.
Oh, does somebody have a question?
No, she's just liking the whole idea of compassion,
Oh,
I think.
okay. Well, thank you, Reverend Colleen, and thank you to everyone who is here. It's truly a joy to talk with all of you, and I just want to leave you all with a blessing, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Um, May your heart always recognize the quiet power of kindness. May your soul remember that compassion is a sacred act, both for others and for yourself. And may you walk forward knowing you are never alone, for love surrounds you and light walks beside you. Go gently and let your presence be a healing force in this world. Blessed be.
Oh, thank you. Blessed be.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Sheree. And thank you all of you who came to this event. I appreciate you showing up and supporting Reverend Sheree and the compassion projects and the kits that she's doing and listening to the idea of how we can have this ripple effect of compassion all around the world. We just have to make a conscious effort to kind of give that love, support, and compassion to other people. So thank you so much, everybody. Take
Thank you
care.
all.
Have a
Take
good rest of
care.
your week. Love and light. Bye bye.
Bye.